This is Spotlight Africa. I'm Ricardo da Silva, and we're here with Archbishop Abel Gabuza, who is the present chairperson of the Justice and Peace Department of the SACBC, and has just finished his term as Bishop of Kimberley, and beginning now a new chapter as the Archbishop Coadjutor of Durban. As you leave Kimberley, what do you want to say to the people of Kimberley?
Ricardo, what I want to say to the people of Kimberley is thank you so much. I want to express my deepest gratitude. When I was appointed to Kimberley from Pretoria, from that time onwards, I received, messages of, welcome, and people were able to say they want to work with me. And I presented to them my own vision, and my vision, very simple, that we needed to move on and become a church, a local church that is able to support itself and be able to do things on our own.
Mm-hmm. And now, as you leave there, do you believe that this is happening, this is possible?
It has happened because from 2011 until 2018, our income has been marvelous. It has steadily grown over the years. And I can say this, that I've left Kimberley with a wonderful, healthy financials. It's in a financial position that it can be able, the DAS can be able to do things. For example, we no longer get funding for our seminarians. Mm-hmm. Out of the funds from the people of Kimberley, we pay for our seminarians, and we're able to save some money and make some investments.
Bishop, I remember receiving the notification that you'd been appointed Archbishop Coadjutor, leaving Kimberley, and you wrote very movingly, you wrote a letter to your people around your spiritual journey, accepting the Holy Father's decision to move you. Can you talk about that, your spiritual journey?
Well, it started with the fact that I received a call from Archbishop Wells, the nuncio, on the 27th of November in the evening around 7 p.m. And the call and the subsequent, announcement that I was going to come to Durban really shocked me. I was devastated because I felt I needed to have more time to continue in Kimberley. But then I realized in the first instance that I have just celebrated, 34 years as a priest. And I've always regarded myself as an obedient son of the church. And when Archbishop Wells said to me, the Pope is giving me 24 hours to give my consent, it became something natural to me to say yes, of course, with a certain amount of trepidation and anxiety. But I also remembered that in the New Testament and in the Old Testament, there were figures, God called them, and they were caught unawares. They were not ready, but these individuals were able to say yes to God, and they were assured that God was going to be with them. And this is what I told myself, I should not be afraid because God is going to be with me.
And everywhere you go, God is going to be with you.
Exactly.
And here you are, just outside Durban, in Pinetown, Marion Hill, at the Bishop's Plenary, and you're about to step into the Archdiocese of Durban's territory. What are your hopes? What do you see as the challenges there?
The challenges, we as bishops have been working on the pastoral sort of vision, pastoral plan for our conference. And hopefully this year we're going to put the finishing touches. But the pastoral plan basically, responds to the challenges we find in our country, and also Swaziland and Botswana because they belong to the conference. The challenges in terms of, abuse of women and girl children, the corruption and the violence, political violence, domestic violence, and a number of issues that we address as bishops. So I hope that we will be able to do what the pastoral plan is asking us to do, that we become a church that evangelizes, people, a church that inspires people to take care of the environment and to take care of humanity. So I hope that I will be able to do that, and I will do my best that we in the Archdiocese of Durban also do what the conference or the bishops of the Southern African Bishops Conference would want us to do. So I'm not going to bring my own agenda. I'm bringing the agenda of the conference. The agenda of the conference, of course, is the agenda of the church. And the agenda of the church is the agenda of the body of Christ. We are the body of Christ. So we're going to do that to the best of our ability.
And we were speaking earlier, and you were telling me you'd just arrived at the Chancery of Durban, and Cardinal Wilfred Napier introduced you to the new Chancery staff.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about that, your first impressions?
So what happened is when I left Kimberley, the religious in Kimberley said to me, it is un-African for me to go alone. So they accompanied me to Durban on Sunday. And we arrived at the Chancery around about 4:30 in the afternoon. And the Cardinal received us warmly. And then the following day, the Cardinal, took me to a meeting of the Finance Committee, I think. And also at 11 o'clock, he made sure that I met the staff at the Chancery. And I was sort of intimidated in a way because in Kimberley, there were 3 of us, full-time in the Chancery. Now I come to the Chancery in Archdiocese of Durban. There's a whole army of men and women who work in the Chancery. I met about 16 of them or 15 of them. And I even said to them, I'm intimidated because there's so many of you. I'm not used to having so many people, which means the structures here are wonderful. And therefore, it means the work will not be that difficult compared to Kimberley in terms of administration, because I was doing so much administration with the other 2 members of staff in Kimberley. But here it's going to be different. Hopefully, I'll have more time to go to the sea, to jog along the beach. And for me, I'm looking forward to a wonderful, missionary sort of spirit and missionary endeavor in the Archdiocese of Durban.
Perhaps you'll take up surfing, who knows?
Well, imagine coming from a township, I'll have to learn how to do that. But anyway, anything is possible.
Sounds wonderful. Let's turn quickly to the plenary here at Marion Hill. Cardinal Wilfred Napier responded in response to Archbishop Brislin's address. He said that, what did we miss? Why were we not quick enough to respond as bishops, especially to the challenges of corruption and looking at what's going on with Bosasa and the Zondo Commission at the moment? You then came in and said, well, we have been speaking very much as the Justice and Peace desk, but what's perhaps missing is a univocal voice, one voice of the bishops, where the bishops are signing statements as the bishops and not simply as the Justice and Peace desk. Can you speak about that?
I believe that is very important, and for a number of reasons. One, if we do that together, we put our names on any statement as bishops, people will be able to see that it is not just one, if I can call it, crazy bishop who has these ideas. It is the bishops who speak as a body. And therefore, I think myself, it will be more important for us to do that. Secondly, I think, impressions are very important. And when individuals see just one name and they don't see the name of their own bishop, and, one would then try to explain that, it was not possible to have the name of your bishop because of this and that, the distances. But I think we need to change our attitude. We need to do things differently. And I think if we do that, thirdly, we'll be able to send a very powerful message that we don't speak as individuals, we speak as a body of bishops who are leaders in the Catholic Church in this part of the world. I think we need to do that. And I'm always saying we should do that. Hopefully, we'll do it.
Your Grace, thank you.